channel here over at SubScribeStar. So is LA ready for Disney's Bob Iger? Disney Bob Iger eyed for LA mayor amid Karen Bass, California wildfire controversy. And somebody in the comments said, like, well, he already burned down Disney, so elect him to burn down California again. I think they're way off track. I think he would do a much better job than the current mayor, but obviously that's not saying much. But quick video, because the answer is no. California doesn't want to be saved. California is completely screwed. I live here. The people are mostly delusional. Someone floated the trial balloon of Iger for mayor, and as much as a left-wing nut job he is over at Disney, and he is running a pop culture company, even a $150 billion one, is not the same as running LA, which is probably the size bigger than some states. It's a whole different kind of gravitas level of responsibility. He'd be a massive improvement over the idiot who's in there now, Karen Bass. When she was interviewed after the fire, she just put her head down and refused to respond. That's not what a leader does, because it does not inspire confidence. Like, no man would do that and get away with that. That's insane. But she did that because, you know, she has that position on the hierarchy of Frankfurt School oppression and whatnot. So yeah, Bob Iger would be a much better. But that's to say anyone would be better than the present mayor, because in case you haven't been following the news, they just had a record-setting disastrous fire because of the negligence of the mayor and governor. I mean, that literally just happened. So kind of by definition, that's a bad system. Like, everyone you have in office is bad. But I can also promise you that the governor, Newsom, is not going anywhere. Like, people naively think, oh, his career is over. No, no, you don't understand California if you think his career is over. And you should be paying attention to California, because it's the future of the country. They have him kind of on in waiting on the bench for future nominations for 2028 and 32 and whatever. And so they're not throwing him away at all. They're already shifted the blame to blaming the weather. No, global warming. And they show a chart of like 1,000 years or something. You're like, can you show the chart for the full 4.5 billion years? So in the current mayor, Bass is black and a woman, and she would actually have to do much worse than burn her city down before she was blamed for anything. I don't know what she could, like, sacrifice children to a bronze Moloch sculpture or something, and they would probably say that was cultural. She was literally not even in the country at the time of the greatest fire danger, when she had cut the fire department funds by like 20 million, and she wanted to cut them by more money, so they didn't have the money to inspect the hydrants and fill the reservoirs or clean the dead trees and brush out. Oh, I mean, that's just common sense. You have to do that if you're living up in the hills. Otherwise, you have like a firestorm that's waiting to happen. And it was so bad that the insurance adjusters looked at it and goes, you have to clear this. You have to manage the forest, keep the forest clean, turn all this stuff into compost and mulch and whatever. Otherwise, we're going to raise the rates, because the odds, it's like insurance is just a gamble. And I guess Newsom said, no, you can't raise the rates in California. So they left. We can't offer you insurance in California. It'll just have to lapse. We can't. It's a gamble, but the governor of California was trying to change the odds. It's like, well, okay, they're fair enough on the insurance companies. I don't blame them. But why didn't the state use that taxpayer money to do what they're supposed to do and send out the forest guys with chainsaws and wood chippers and clean up the dead underbrush and all the stuff with the high surface area? Well, it's a good question. Oh, well, another good question is, where'd that taxpayer money go? Yeah, that is a good question. What about the $24 billion they spent on homelessness? And not only did homelessness increase, and I live here, like, I drive through it, and like what I've seen in a few decades is shocking. And you should really be paying attention. I should do some filming on it. It's homeless tent cities are springing up throughout California. It's like earth shattering. It's like learning not only you have cancer, but the whole country has cancer. It's that bad. And this is going to come to the rest of the country. Where's I going with this? So that money, $24 billion on that, and then billions of dollars to run the state, So where's all this money going? Well, The money is, some of it's going in their own pockets, Nancy Pelosi style, that kind of stuff. But a lot of it is going for goods and services for illegals who are taking out of the system, but they're not paying into the system. And that accounts for billions and billions of dollars, to the extent that they would rather let a city burn down, which literally just happened, than say, oh, we don't have magic money. We can't feed the entire world. We can't provide them, water and roads and emergency medical services and police and judicial, take them through the court system. We just don't have the magic money for all that kind of stuff. There's not enough people in California who are paying into the system. And instead of taking that hard decision and go, yeah, but if we say that, the Democrats won't be able to virtue signal to our voter base. But you'll take care of the state. Like, they would rather let LA burn down than actually say we can't afford the entire Latin America to give them emergency medical, give them schooling. All that stuff is paid for by the California taxpayers. So there's a shrinking tax base in California to the tune of this money just magically disappearing. And the $24 billion for homelessness, where that went should be a great question. It's like, so aren't there like district attorneys or somebody? Shouldn't the state function like a functioning state? Not California. Anyway, they really are, liberals really are as crazy as they seem, and they refuse to blame the mayor or governor because that is their team. And they think it would hurt the left in general if people started pointing out how incompetent they are. And obviously it would. It would be tremendous L if California mayor and governor, if the media really covered them like they should, if they had an R after their name, then yeah, that would be, the left wing, it would be an awakening for the left wing. So the media just doesn't cover it. They won't cover it that way. They'll switch to something else. They'll switch to, like I said, global warming. And now that Trump is elected, they'll just take the focus off of California. As crazy as it sounds, like they took the focus off of Maui and switch it to something else. So nothing is going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if Los Angeles gave her an award for her fearless leadership. The award is really just for being black and a female, and that's just kind of how the left wing thinks. And in fact, if you look at a bunch of different Democratic cities, you'll see an overrepresentation of diversity mayors and sheriffs and city councils, because that's how the left wing thinks. They don't give a shit about who's best for the job. That thought never crosses their mind. They just look at their diverse people in key positions for infrastructure and power and decision making, and they see non-white people and they're happy about that. And then you look at the state of their cities, you go, oh, but this is not working out. You should really have to get the best people for the job. And they go, Istophobic says what? Qualifications for them, it just have to be, you have to have a D after your name, or in this case of the mayor, she was a communist or is a communist, and you have to be vaguely brown. Then female and gays are bonus points, and probably trans is the peak bonus point. And they will burn a city to ashes rather than admit they're wrong, because again, that literally just happened, and it's like we already forgot about it, like we forgot about Maui or North Carolina, because the left is a religion. They abandon whatever religion over time, paganism, Christianity, because the TV told them, especially Christianity was old-fashioned, and progress was in being atheist and mainly in aborting babies and drugs and just kind of every degeneracy they can think of. Having sex with anything that moves. If it feels good, do it. A hole is a goal is kind of a left-wing philosophy. They're lost people. They're looking for something, but they won't admit that anything would be better than this, whether it's Christianity or some sort of ethno-paganism, tribalism would be the correct path. Instead, their God is a combination of the media and what the university propaganda narrative is. And it turns out that people really need a belief system. And if you remove it, then nature pours a vacuum and another will just take the place. And that was the goal. That's what the globalists have been doing for the past 100 years, to get these people under their thumb. So Iger was woke at Disney. No argument from me. I'm not a fan of him or Disney. But he still made sure that things got, and it was a pop culture company, not running a city. he made things that still got done. Movies and shows were going out the door, and they were competently done. It's just they had a left wing bias that the audience started to reject. And as left wing as he is, he's still to the right of the current incompetent mayor and probably 30 IQ points higher. And just him being so much smarter would be a massive advantage. But it's like, well, that's the reasonable decision. You still elect somebody who's on the far left, um, but he would be more competent. So it's like, well, LA will snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And it's a moot point because LA won't elect him, even as left wing as he is, and as Disney is, because they see him as an evil businessman and he has the wrong skin color. Even if the business is pushing left wing propaganda, the left is not focusing. And the thing is, for the left, the Disney left wing animations and movies and streaming shows are not far left enough because it's not a journey, it's a destination. And the left is not focusing on, but it's mostly he just has the wrong skin color. The left is not focusing on the bigger picture. They do a lot of surface level stuff like electing an incompetent politician merely because they're brown. And to be fair, Newsom isn't. And he turned out to be a total sociopath. But I think he was giving hints of that for the past 25 years. And when it comes time for him to be selected to the presidency, which is probably going to be the choice for the DNC if nothing better comes along, the country by that time might be too brown to elect him, and they might just put AOC in office, the first Madam President Milkers. And by that time, she'll be safe from being milked on the White House lawn, which allegedly was going to take place today. So maybe we'll catch it tomorrow. Anyway, California is so far gone that it's beyond saving. It's basically Brazil now, and it's going to get worse. And with Trump in office, admittedly there is a bit of a vibe shift. California is only 30% white now, so it's a blue state forever. That's not going to change, as well as Texas and the entire Southwest, Nevada, Arizona, and everything else. Those are forever blue states, which is a problem because California's got 55 electoral votes, and only a percentage of white people are the ones who vote for the right. So as those states become more Latin, they're just going to be. It's just like the presidency from here on out is just going to be some form of a Democrat, whether actually in name or you might have an R after your name, but you're not. Like Trump's not really that far right. It's only going to double down on woke, and their next mayors and governors are only going to get worse and worse.